Have you noticed that every few years in the TV industry a new buzzword emerges, and before long every manufacturer's marketing department is pushing it so hard that you start wondering how you ever lived without it? We've seen everything from 4K, HDR, quantum dot, OLED and mini-LED to countless other technologies. Some of them genuinely transformed the viewing experience and stood the test of time, while others quietly disappeared like 3D or proved largely irrelevant for most users, 8K resolution being a good example. Well, welcome to 2026, because the next term you're inevitably going to hear everywhere is RGB Mini-LED. This latest display technology promises a number of advantages over the conventional mini-LED systems we've been seeing in TVs for years, with meaningful improvements in picture quality. Virtually every major TV manufacturer has announced RGB Mini-LED models, but Hisense is one of the first, if not the very first, to actually bring one to market that you can buy today. The model we have on the test bench is the Hisense UR9S, specifically the 65-inch version. It's the perfect opportunity not only to see what kind of TV this is, but also to find out what the first generation of RGB Mini-LED technology actually delivers in real-world use. Before we dive into the technology itself, let's first talk about the TV. At first glance, the UR9S bears a strong resemblance to the excellent U8Q that we reviewed around 9 months ago. It features a relatively understated but elegant design paired with excellent build quality that immediately gives it a premium feel. Up front, you'll find slim bezels surrounding the display, complemented by a brushed aluminum look trim along the bottom edge. The steel stand can be mounted in either a higher or lower position depending on your preference, or whether you're planning to place a soundbar underneath the TV. That said, you probably won't even need a soundbar, because the built-in speaker system, developed in collaboration with French audio specialist DVLA, extends across the sides, the top and even the back of the TV, but we'll get back to that in more detail later. On the left side of the TV, you'll also find a USB-C port that serves several purposes. Besides making it easy to connect external drives and providing up to 10 watts of charging power for other devices, it also functions as a DisplayPort input, a surprisingly uncommon feature on televisions and one that's genuinely interesting to see. The remaining connectors are housed in a recessed compartment on the back, accessible from the left-hand side. Here you'll find an Ethernet port, optical audio output, satellite and antenna inputs, a CI Plus slot, 2 USB-A ports, one rated at 0.5 and the other at 1 ampere, and 3 HDMI inputs with HDMI 3 supporting eARC. One interesting detail is that the USB-C DisplayPort input supports 4K at up to 165 Hz, while the HDMI ports go one step further and support refresh rates of up to 170 Hz. That's actually a bit surprising, since DisplayPort is usually the faster option. Once you connect a PC or game console, the TV offers a game mode and gives you access to a dedicated gaming dashboard where you can monitor connection parameters and enable additional gaming features. It's worth noting, however, that both features are only available when connected via HDMI, so in most cases we'd recommend sticking with HDMI rather than DisplayPort. Panel response times are fairly typical for a fast refresh rate VA panel, and combined with HDR support, variable refresh rate technology and refresh rates of up to 170 Hz, the overall gaming experience is excellent. Now let's get back to the main event. What exactly is RGB Mini-LED? All modern TVs that aren't based on OLED or micro-LED technology work according to essentially the same principle. A backlight generates light, while the LCD panel in front of it shapes the light to create the final image. When mini-LED technology arrived, it replaced larger LEDs and traditional light diffusers with a larger number of much smaller LEDs. Because these miniature LEDs provide more uniform coverage and occupy less space, they can be positioned closer to the LCD panel itself. This results in better efficiency, higher peak brightness, improved uniformity, and even allows manufacturers to build thinner televisions. Mini-LED is also almost always paired with quantum dot or similar technology. Quantum dots are essentially filters that absorb light from blue LEDs and convert part of it into red and green wavelengths. By controlling the proportions of these colors, the TV can produce an extremely wide color gamut with excellent accuracy. As impressive as quantum dot technology is, though, converting blue light into other colors isn't a perfect process. Like any form of energy conversion, it inevitably introduces some losses. Eventually, technology advancement made it possible to implement the obvious idea. Instead of using 3 blue LEDs combined with quantum dot filters to create red and green light, why not simply use 1 red, 1 green, and 1 blue mini-LED directly and eliminate the filters altogether? That's exactly what RGB Mini-LED is. In theory, removing the filters should improve efficiency, allowing the TV to achieve higher brightness while consuming the same amount of power. It should also improve longevity, deliver greater color accuracy, and dramatically expand the available color gamut. Some manufacturers even claim that RGB Mini-LED can approach 100% coverage of the BT 2020 color space, which represents essentially the full range of colors visible to the human eye, and significantly exceeds the DCI-P3 gamut that even today's best TVs are still working to fully reproduce. So what does that actually mean in practice? As one of the very first RGB Mini-LED televisions available, the Hisense 65U Air 9S offers a good indication of where this technology stands compared to today's quantum dot Mini-LED TVs, and just as importantly, where its future potential lies. The very first thing that quite literally caught our eye is the incredible brightness. We measured a peak brightness of 3197 nits, which is an excellent indicator of the efficiency gains promised by RGB Mini-LED. Even more impressively, the TV is capable of sustaining over 1000 nits across a full-screen white image, making it an exceptionally bright display not only for HDR content, but also for SDR viewing. In some picture modes, SDR brightness exceeded 2500 nits. Panel uniformity is also very good, even if it isn't absolutely perfect. Of course, a TV like this is expected to include local dimming, and the UR9S features 980 local dimming zones. That's actually less than last year's U8Q in the same screen size. The reason is fairly straightforward. Current RGB Mini-LED implementations require a little more physical space per lighting segment than conventional Mini-LED designs, meaning this first generation can't quite match the zone density of the most advanced quantum dot Mini-LED TVs. Fortunately, local dimming performance is still excellent overall, and we don't really have any major complaints. Blooming becomes a bit more noticeable when viewing the TV from an angle, but from directly in front it's virtually invisible in most situations. That performance is further helped by the excellent native contrast of the VA panel itself. Using a checkerboard pattern with a field the size of our colorimeter, we recorded a native contrast ratio of 8516:1, a highly respectable result even if the relatively small measurement area benefits slightly from local dimming. The panel itself uses an FRC-assisted 10-bit display, and in our measurements it covered 97.2% of the DCI-P3 color gamut. In terms of color reproduction, RGB Mini-LED on this particular model looks remarkably similar to the quantum dot displays we've tested. That said, my subjective impression is that it's perhaps just a half step behind the very best quantum dot panels I've seen, such as Hisense's own 65U8Q. Part of that could simply come down to factory calibration, which isn't quite up to the exceptionally high standard we've come to expect from Hisense. The lowest delta E deviation we measured was 6.26, leaving some room for improvement. It's also possible, though, that the newly introduced matte screen coating plays a role. This coating dramatically reduces reflections from windows and room lighting, making the viewing experience much more comfortable, especially during darker scenes. While its anti-reflection performance doesn't quite reach the level of Samsung's latest flagship OLED models, which, to be fair, occupy a considerably higher price bracket, it still performs noticeably better than the conventional anti-glare coatings found even on many higher-end TVs. In practical use, we'd say it's a genuinely worthwhile addition that more than compensates for any slight trade-offs. One aspect that particularly impressed me, and isn't often mentioned as one of RGB Mini-LED's advantages, is the significant improvement in viewing angles. Because the display no longer relies on quantum dot conversion filters, color shift, saturation loss, and contrast degradation when viewing TV from the side are all substantially reduced. The improvement over conventional VA-based Mini-LED TVs is honestly remarkable. The Hisense 65U R9S offers by far the best viewing angles we've ever seen from a VA panel, so much so that it's genuinely hard to believe you're looking at a VA display at all. It still doesn't quite match IPS technology, but considering the massive advantage VA panels retain in native contrast, it's an extremely compelling balance. Beyond the hardware itself, the UR9S also features sophisticated image processing. This includes dynamic brightness and color adjustments based on the content being displayed, AI-assisted detail enhancement, and intelligent mode that continuously optimizes picture settings in real time. An ambient light sensor is also included. If enabled, it automatically adjusts screen brightness according to your room lighting and also supports HDR formats such as Dolby Vision IQ, which use environmental lighting data to optimize the picture. Motion processing, meanwhile, is excellent. The TV MEMC implementation offers everything from ultra-smooth motion with minimal artifacts to a more restrained cinematic presentation that preserves the look of film while reducing judder. You can either choose from several predefined presets or fine-tune the effect manually using separate sliders for blur and judder reduction. Overall, when it comes to picture quality, this is a seriously impressive TV. As for the audio, as we mentioned earlier, this speaker system is designed by DeviLA, whose products we've also had the opportunity to review on our channel. The system consists of a 4.1.2 channel configuration featuring 6 10-watt drivers along with a dedicated 20-watt woofer. It's impressively loud in real-world use, we have to admit. Overall tonal balance is excellent and the soundstage is surprisingly spacious, making a very strong first impression. Bass extends down to around 60 Hz within its usable range. While it doesn't produce a huge amount of true sub-bass, there's more than enough low-end presence to make both music and movies sound full and convincing. Audio processing is equally impressive. Both Dolby Atmos and DTS-X are supported, alongside features such as dialogue enhancement, dynamic range compression, automatic room calibration, a 7-band equalizer, and of course an intelligent mode that automatically adjusts processing depending on the type of content you're watching. As for the smart TV experience, we're used to seeing VIDA OS on Hisense TVs. This time, however, there's a slight twist. VIDA has essentially been rebranded as HomeOS. The overall experience remains familiar and one that we've always liked, but the interface has clearly been refined. It's smoother, more responsive, and generally feels more polished than before, while also introducing several useful new features. For example, alongside the gaming section that's accessible from the vertical icon bar on the left side of the home screen, a feature we already saw on the U8Q, there's now also a dedicated FIFA World Cup hub reflecting Hisense's role as an official tournament sponsor. It's very well designed, offering an intuitive overview of fixtures, live scores, key players, standings, and featured match highlights. Another new addition is the Home application, which aggregates movies, TV shows, and sports content from multiple streaming services, while also providing AI-powered personalized recommendations. At this stage, however, we'd say it's still in its infancy and needs further development before it becomes more useful than the recommendations already available on the main home screen. Speaking of apps, virtually every major video and music streaming platform is supported, along with local TV provider applications, various IPTV services, games, and cloud gaming platforms such as Boosteroid, Blacknut, and Couchplay Games. Naturally, the TV also supports wireless screencasting from mobile devices, as well as Bluetooth game controllers, allowing you to enjoy cloud gaming comfortably from your couch without needing a dedicated console. Another feature worth mentioning is the art gallery section. Here you'll find an extensive collection of classic artwork that can be displayed whenever the TV isn't in use. Thanks to the mate screen and the display's excellent picture quality, those artworks look genuinely convincing. Of course, you're also free to upload and display your own photos or images. For controlling the TV, in addition to the mobile app, Hisense includes a fairly large remote packed with just about every button you might need, as well as dedicated shortcuts for the most popular streaming services. The buttons themselves feel high quality with a crisp, satisfying click. There's also a solar panel built into the front of the remote, which continuously recharges its integrated battery using ambient light throughout the day. Overall, we can confidently say that the Hisense 65U R9S is an excellent TV that delivers flagship-level picture quality while also offering an impressive combination of image processing, sound performance, and smart TV functionality. The combination of extremely high brightness, excellent contrast, a matte display, and exceptionally wide viewing angles makes it something of a unique proposition in this price segment, and we have little doubt that this model will find its audience. The current retail price is around €1,800. As for RGB Mini-LED itself, we'd say this first generation already demonstrates some meaningful improvements over today's quantum dot mini-LED technology. Even so, its long-term potential appears to be significantly greater, and over the next few years we expect the technology to evolve into something capable of offering even more substantial advantages over the very best quantum dot mini-LED televisions currently available. So that wraps up our review. Be sure to let us know in the comments what you think about the Hisense 65U R9S and RGB Mini-LED technology as a whole. If you found this video helpful or enjoyed it, don't forget to leave a like and maybe consider subscribing to our channel for more interesting tech content. You are watching Bench House, my name is Ivan, and I'll see you next time.